On the Trailblazers yesterday. Everything we're going to show you here is in the fourth quarter. Dallas is down 13, and Doncic says, we're not done yet. Look at the young man going to the hole and putting it up and good.
Dude, he's going in over two people, around everyone. It's just been impressive this whole year for him.
Jay Will, the step back three.
First off, Dallas replaced 4 starters the other day, and Doncic had 28 points. He's doing everything off the dribble.
Now they're down 6. Doncic again. Now they're within 3. Under 3 minutes ago, they've tied the game at 97. And watch the hit that he absorbs and still gets the bucket to go.
This is great, Greeny, but can we talk about Portland only scoring 9 points in the fourth quarter?
No,
9 points?
This is a Doncic-related highlight. Thank you. Under 2 minutes to go. Tied at 99. Doncic for the lead.
With the lefty finish, and he's feeling himself as he should.
He would score 13 of their final 19, 28 in total. They get a block on the final play there on Damian Lillard. He wanted a foul. He doesn't get it, and the Mavericks come all the way back to win it behind that young man, 102-101, and it brings us to an unscripted moment here on the program. So we're getting set to come in here and do the show, and Richard Jefferson and I are watching that highlight. And I just turned to him offhandedly. We showed you Ben Simmons earlier in the show. He took a 3 for the 3rd time this year, and the world stopped revolving on its axis. And I asked you the question. Last year, Ben Simmons is Rookie of the Year. This year, Doncic looks like he's headed in that direction.
Yes.
Which guy would you take right now?
Oh, I'm going to have to say Doncic, but we can't say headed there. He is the Rookie of the Year.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I would have to take Doncic. But again, I like Ben Simmons and his team and the way they've built the team around him. But as a player right now, you can't find one better than Doncic.
That comes with management. I go with Doncic hands down. I just think the ability to shoot really helps you in today's NBA, which is different than Ben. I understand the pieces that Ben has around him and Jimmy Butler and what they've Joel Embiid. I mean, if you put Doncic on that team, I wonder what he's doing.
So take everything else out of the equation. You're starting a team over again, and you're taking Doncic, and you are too.
I am taking Doncic.
And by the way, can I just tell you something? Doncic made a quote the other day where he said playing in Europe is more difficult than playing in the NBA. Scoring in Europe is more difficult than scoring in the NBA.
The game is set up. The game is set up different. Everything is set up.
Whatever you want to say, that goes to show you the insight, the confidence this young dude has.
I like it, but watch it.
He's scoring more points here than he was scoring.
That's what I'm saying. That's all in Europe.
All right, so anyway, that just sort of came up out of nowhere, and I like it. Who would you rather have, Doncic or Simmons? In the meantime, to the Celtics, who are struggling. Kyrie Irving considered day-to-day after being diagnosed with a strained right knee on Sunday. Now, that's actually good news because it looked like it might have been worse. He got hurt Saturday night against the Clippers. With him on the sideline, the Celtics, as you probably know, blew a 28-point lead and lost the game. And when it was over, Marcus Morris let the frustration fly.
Has to be a championship team, man. It has to change. We have to, genuinely want to win. That has to be the first goal, whatever that takes. And, I'm with it. Trade deadline's over. This is the team we rocking with. This is what we going with. It's not fun, man. It's not fun. We're not competing at a high level. Even though we're winning, it's still not. It's just not fun. I don't see the joy in the game. I watch all these other teams down in the league, guys up on the bench, they're jumping on the court, they're doing all the stuff that just look like they're enjoying, their teammates' success, they're enjoying everything, and they're playing together and they're playing to win. And when I look at us, I just see a bunch of individuals. But we don't have no attitude, we don't have no toughness, we ain't having fun. It's gonna be a long season.
Whoa. So the Celtics had won 10 of 11. Now they've lost back-to-back games, blowing double-digit leads in both. They are 5th in the East. They're 3rd in their division. That would be their worst finish since Brad Stevens' first season with the team. This was a team that almost everyone was picking to win the Eastern Conference before the season began, and certainly that could still happen. But as you hear Marcus Morris talking there, RJ, what do you think?
Well, I talked to Marcus Morris a couple of weeks ago and just asked him how they were doing. They were kind of going through a little bit of a change. This was after the Kyrie situation. He's like, hey, I really feel like after the trade deadline, I feel like there's a little bit of tension. We're not sure, the Anthony Davis stuff. Not saying that they were going to make a trade, but he felt like the Celtics could make a move. And he's like, I feel like after the All-Star break or after the trade deadline, guys will be a little bit more locked in. So I think that's where this frustration came. It's like, hey, guys, the trade deadline's gone. This is our team. This is the team that we need to focus in on trying to win a championship because they have the talent. And I think that's where he got really frustrated and let everybody know.
300 is a magic number for this team from a basketball perspective. In their wins, they average about 20 more passes per game, and they have less than like 7 or 8% less ISOs a game. So when they pass the ball, that's great. I also bring it back to next year off the court distractions, okay? Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, play out of their mind. Off season, what do agents and what does everybody in your family tell you going into the next season? Speaking of contracts, right? What did it say?
Build on it.
Build on it. So now you're not building on it there's less on it. You have team chemistry issues. Kyrie's trying to come back. Gordon's trying to come back, finding those minutes. It forces everybody to be a little bit more selfish. Greeny, like that's the way this world works a little bit in that way, and it's not right. It's just where they are right now collectively as a unit.
It doesn't always feel like they are all pulling on the same rope in the same direction. Can they get it turned around? You picked them to win the championship this year. Do you still feel that way?
I'd rather have the problem of having talent than not having talent. So yes, I do believe it.
And they're 14 games over 500. They're still good. That's what lets you know the level of talent and expectation that they have. They're 14 games over 500, and they're talking about they're playing awful. And I like that because that means that they're focused. They're not happy where they are.
And they don't lose that game if they have Kyrie playing the rest of that game.
Well, they were up 28. Kyrie, no Kyrie, you shouldn't lose that game.
Look,
I agree with that.
The predictions we were making before the season were also based on our expectation that the East was the junior varsity. All of a sudden, with Milwaukee and Toronto and the Sixers loading up, the East is kind of loaded. You know, so I don't know that the Celtics right now.
I agree with
Hembo
you.
just said that they're not even the favorites to win the Eastern Conference and particularly close to it. This has been a tough start for the Celtics, and it isn't even that close to the beginning anymore. All right, we will have more hoops, and again, about a half hour from now, Kevin Durant live. But back to our NFL offseason bold predictions. Our Cowboys reporter Todd Archer is predicting that the Cowboys will sign Dak Prescott to a long-term extension. He goes so far as to write Dak will get 6 years and $168 million, including $65 million in guarantees, writing that he has proven his worth by leading Dallas to 2 postseason appearances in his 3 seasons as a starter. And here's something you may not have known. Dak Prescott is the winningest quarterback in the NFC since he came into the league. His 32 wins through 3 seasons are tied for the 5th most in NFL history. You see it there. He's won more games than Breeze. He's won more games than Russell. You have been sort of on the Dak Prescott bandwagon to a degree. And since they got Amari Cooper, he has looked like a different player. Show me how.
And that's why he should be signed, Greeny. And like you said, Amari Cooper is the big difference. And it really comes down to 2 plays, okay? This is game 1 of the season. This is without Amari Cooper. Basic play here. They're going to have a receiver out here. He's going to run a short in. Tight end is going to run a corner route. And then we're going to get an inside seam release by Beasley from the left side, all right? Now, Carolina's in what we know is a middle field open defense. You see those 2 safeties. That means middle of the field is wide open, okay? Yeah. And the reason I say that is this play is a progression play. You go number 1 to number 2 99 out of 100 times. Now, occasionally you can get to number 3, that seam, if you have that middle field open defense. That's number 1. And you got to have a lot of confidence in the guy running that seam to get around a linebacker and cross the safety face. Now, I want to point out this. This linebacker is the read for Dak Prescott, all right? Once you get the ball, you make that linebacker just fall back, take an easy completion. If that linebacker jumps up, you can move to your tight end, or again, if you like the guy running that seam, let's get to him. Just watch the indecisiveness by the quarterback, Dak Prescott. Without Amari Cooper, watch how indecisive he is with this read. There's a guy wide open right here. Beasley's coming wide open right here. But he decides to get back too quickly and incompletion, okay? You see a non-aggressive, non-confident quarterback.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when they do have Amari Cooper. I'll draw the play again. Same exact play. Short in, tight end on the corner. Now this is Amari Cooper running that wrap seam, that wrap post. Middle field open safeties by Washington. Almost the exact identical look that Carolina gave us. This is our read with the linebacker. Now, watch the quarterback. Watch how much more confident and quickly he gets through this read, Greeny.
Yep.
So watch the linebacker. He takes that away, all right? This linebacker has now taken that short in away. But Dak's already backside. Dak has already moved backside and moving Mason Foster towards Ezekiel Elliott. That's the linebacker, Mason Foster, towards Ezekiel Elliott, and watch him rip this ball to Amari Cooper down the seam. Completely different quarterback. I'll play it full speed one more time. You watch a quarterback so much more confident, quickly, backside, deliver a strike to a guy, similar type of coverage situation. Exact same play, very similar look. The main difference is you got a guy that you can trust at wide receiver.
So Cooper has made a huge difference, and does that mean Dak Prescott is worth all of the money they're going to pay him?
Yeah, they should extend him. Money, the market determines what it is. I believe he's one of the top 12, 13, 14 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, as long as he's got a guy like Amari Cooper. We see it on tape, the difference, and it's really up top. The confidence that he has to pull the trigger to one of the better receivers in the NFL.
Now, speaking of quarterbacks, that brings us to another bold prediction, and this one comes from Jacksonville. And we all know that there'll be a lot of eyes on the Jaguars quarterback situation. Our Jaguars reporter Mike DiRocco predicts that the Jaguars will trade up to land a quarterback in the draft, writing it would be, quote, out of character for Jacksonville to trade picks and pay $25 million to acquire Nick Foles. Instead, the prediction is they will move up, get Dwayne Haskins in the draft, and maybe add a different sort of veteran quarterback. We know about Blake Bortles, suffered regression in 2018. Cody Kessler, not much better as his replacement. Jacksonville quarterbacks 30th in QBR and in yards per attempt. They were one of just 4 teams with more turnovers than touchdowns. And we saw all of the discord that had sowed in their locker room with that defense. So what I would ask you is, does this make sense to you to go out and draft a quarterback which to at least some degree feels like you're starting over?
Absolutely, though, because Blake Bortles had one job to do last year, not turn the football over. This is a team that went from 5th in turnover differential in 17 to 30th, and it was really because turning the ball over too much. So you cannot go into next season and with the roster construction that they have and go, we trust that this guy's not going to turn the ball over.
No, clearly. What I'm talking about is, will they be better off going and getting Nick Foles, better off going and getting Joe Flacco? Go out and get yourself a veteran
I like Flacco.
You can win with now.
I like Flacco there. Flacco's a guy that's not going to give you 1,000 touchdown passes, but he also doesn't turn the ball over a ton. He's going to give you the best chance to go win football games. Again, run the football with Leonard Fournette, protect the football at the quarterback position, play really good defense. Now, I like Flacco. And listen, if you love Haskins or you love a Kyler Murray and you have the chance to get them, absolutely go get them. But you better have a veteran in place other than Blake Bortles.
Yeah, I love Dwayne Haskins. The question they have to answer for themselves in Jacksonville is, with Houston suddenly looking good and Indianapolis suddenly looking great, are they a win-now team? If they're a win-now team, go get Flacco, try and win with that defense. A reminder, our next Super Tuesday doubleheader is a really good one tomorrow night. We got number 5 Kentucky hosting LSU at Rupp Arena. That's at 7 Eastern. And then you'll see Zion and RJ and all those guys. Number 2 Duke taking on number 16 Louisville and a Sonic blockbuster. And both games are live on the ESPN app, so you can watch them from anywhere. All right, this morning, Kevin Durant is getting up with you. He was LeBron's first pick for the All-Star team last week. He'll tell you why that was the right choice. He is live off the top of the next hour here on ESPN. And Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, still on the market. I'll get Mark Teixeira in here to explain exactly why big-name teams are not in this mix. That's next.